चलो.
Hello everyone, I am Sakshi Kothari and I am here to introduce you with the topic of is it legal to own a fox in India and international perspective. So today we are delving into the fascinating world of foxes and exploring whether it is legal to own them as pets. But before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with Law Minds with our wildlife adventures. We will be delving with the 5 segments. The first segment is Wildlife Protection Act of India. In India, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 plays a crucial role in safeguarding the country's rich biodiversity, and this act also defines the wildlife to include the animals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, insects found in the wild. It prohibits hunting, capturing or trading of the wild animals, including the foxes, without the necessary license or permission from the authorities. The key features of the Wildlife Protection Act are that it classifies the wildlife into the different schedules based on the conservation status, with several penalties for offences related to highly protected species, and the establishment of protected areas like the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries to preserve the habitats and regulate the human activities.
Start.
Segment 2 talks about the conservation efforts, which plays an essential role to maintain the biodiversity and ecological balance in India. The Act aims to protect not only the animals but also their habitats from destruction and degradation. Protecting the wildlife areas and habitats. When we owning a fox as a pet would likely be considered illegal under this Act. Act prohibits possessions, buying, selling or transferring of any wild animal, including the foxes, without prior license or certification. The segment 3 talks about the international perspective. Now let's look at the international perspective. The CITES, CITES, which talks about the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, regulates the international trade of certain wild animals and plant species. Although the foxes are not generally listed under this convention, but some of the species like the Arctic fox may be protected if their population are at risk. There are also the regions of the Arctic fox populations where it has been in the risk. That the several other international agreements and treaties also focus on the conservation and protection of the wildlife, ensuring the preservation of the endangered or threatened species and their habitats. Now let us talk about the segment 4, the legalities in the other countries. The legality of owning a fox as a pet varies from country to country. Some nations may allow it under strict regulations and permits, while others might outright ban it due to concerns about the animal welfare and ecological impact. Whereas the foxes as pets in different countries, it is crucial to research and respect the laws and regulations governing the pet ownership in foreign countries if you are considering owning a fox as a pet abroad. Now let us talk about the last segment, which talks about the ethical consideration. Apart from the legal aspects, there are also ethical considerations to think about when keeping a wild animals as pets. Foxes have specific dietary, environmental and behavior needs that can be challenging to meet in the domestic setting. Keeping a wild animal as a pet can lead to various problems, including the welfare issues and risks to human safety. In the part of concluding, I would say that owning a fox as a pet in India is generally illegal due to the Wildlife Protection Act. Similarly, in other countries, it may or may not be illegal, but it is essential to research and abide by the local laws to ensure the animal's welfare and conservation. Instead of trying to keep a wild animal as a pet, consider adopting a domesticated and legal pet. Consider to be suitable for the human environment. In the conclusion part, I would like to say that owning a fox as a pet in India is generally illegal under the Wildlife Protection Act. But similarly, in other countries, it may or may not be legal, but it is essential to research and abide by the local laws to ensure the animal's welfare and conservation. Instead of trying to keep a wild animal as a pet, consider adopting a domesticated and legal pet that is suitable for the home environment and readily available for responsible breeders or animal shelters. That's it for today's wildlife exploration. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content for the law minds. Until next time, stay curious and stay wild. Thank you.